Yeah, it appeared people were on shaky water because Karabo and this guy were like Jacques and Dej Loaf. I know you really, really want it, that you belong to somebody else. We are just singing dumb earthly songs. But then, like I said, he made a decision for that chick, and I was like, yes, then it's okay. Top of that, I gave my life to Christ. More so, I was like, yes, then it's okay, right? Yeah. Mara, because I decided to pumaguye, evidently, anymore. Lo muntu waba mona jealous on some you are mine. Yes, I'm to have to matla frezela, batla pluck your hair out like they're tweezing it. I some brows on like some woman with a unibrow or some kid oyang metric dancing. Batla le black out one kutra. You made a choice. I mean, I was prepared to leave my boyfriend for you. You were supposed to be prepared to leave that side. You didn't. And now I'm not going to be dragged around here beside peace. And then he was like, you are mine. Hey, abuti. Mara, that same dude, because I get it, he was still all up in my grill when I gave my life to Christ. I started a YouTube channel. I had a blog first, and then I had a YouTube channel, and then everything of my life fell apart. Okay, yeah, isn't those I was just twattling, breaking like some cups in a house that's got poltergeist activity. That's what was going on, and because he was always obsessed with me, I get it. Jacques and Dej Loaf, can we get a room? And you don't gotta tell nobody. It's just me and it's just you, and what we're doing here is private. I get it, khalangata. Mara he's always liked me, so as I was buga, and especially because right, like umsuzo, because more so because men are like that. More so was he like, Aisuga, you don't get to stop spazzing over me. You don't get to stop obsessing over me. You don't get to stop every time you see a pic of mine on Facebook, be like, oh Mara, this guy's so cool. You don't get to see me walking around in these streets with my tall Amazonian body and just me, you know, nah, come on, Karabo, you're mine. Like, you know, when a man is laying claim to you, he made a decision not to be with you. That was this guy, and precisely because on some your mind, he then never stopped watching my content anywhere, right? He never stopped reading my blog, because I get it, back in the day, it was easy for somebody to just type in my name, Karabo Hlongwane, and then find my blog. In the search engine, it was uppermost found my blog because it was in my about page. My SEO stats were up there with the rest of them. So my blog was especially searchable. So he found my blog. He was reading my content while I was still employed for some years. Ultimately, in my blog, where I started to write about my struggle, and when I started to lose my job at MTN and all that jazz, he, of course, had access to my YouTube channel through my blog. He basically had access to my content, all right? All of it. Now that I was losing everything. And when I was out there in the wilderness passing away, and this time around I had, like I said, started a YouTube channel. He then started to watch my videos, and one fateful day, one fateful thunderous Thursday with peals and rumblings and quakings on the outside, one fateful crazy day in these uneasy streets of Johannesburg, this Okie, his wife, not wife, girlfriend at the time, Nelly girlfriend, right? His girlfriend, right, finds him. I think before they got married, you know, worldly couples gunjalo. Before bachata, they cohabited. So now he was living. This is now years since we met him. When I met him, this is perfectly feasible for him to break away, me break away, the two of us, let's go into the sunset together, jump on a bouncer like kangaroos. Like a springer, you know, that thing that you can hop on and you just jump up and jump and fella on dates and ultimately get married, because we're not tied to anyone, and if we find each other, please go boyfriend, girlfriend that we're not sure we want to be with, right? We are both apprehensive about our relationships. Might as well and be together. Anyway, whatever. That's what was going on in What decided to and mind you, this guy so much that even though I've always had a thing about guys with kids, a guy on one, a daughter. And I was like, I don't care, I'll be a stepmom. The one concession I was willing to make, I liked him that much. So I believe what was going on with that guy was precisely the daughter, right? And no, it wasn't just the daughter. I'm telling you, right? It wasn't just the daughter. It was the many that he was with, then chicken that he was with. Yeah. Mara, also because of the daughter, the daughter had known this woman, Lomunye, for a couple of years. She, like, the daughter at that time, I think was about 6 or 7 years old. This chick was with this guy maybe like 3 years. So this girl had only ever known, this little girl, his child, had only ever known this woman. And so for him, it was like, I want to confuse my child. I don't want to confuse my baby girl, because my baby girl is actually going to be like, oh, Dad, you're playing musical chairs between women. Who is it? Who's my stepmom? Who do I say hi, stepmom, to? So I think for the sake of Wanahai, this became a decision to stick with the woman that he was already with, or the daughter, right? But that was not the only thing, because me, I got a spiritual gift once I gave my life to Christ, okay? I came to Christ perhaps like 8 months, but my 7 to 8 months after meeting this guy. Maybe a year to 8 months to a year. I was basically en route redemption. So the thing that saved me from continuing to linger around this idiot was my redemption, because he was into witchcraft. Very well, okay, and then, however, one fateful day, like I said, peals of thunder, rumblings of quakings on the outside, one fateful night, him, Maria Haeliana, they live together, Anish. That's what's good. Honale apartment to that guy. I was saying, see you later, baby. Fat and set. Because he was fat and setting, one fateful day, not girlfriend, I'm born again. So it's years since on some Puma game. I had since then gotten dreams about him tagataring me to be his, cause men are like that. They pass you up and then they like, but your mind. I'm your offer. Is that basic? Anyway, whatever. So the thought that on some your mind, nobody else is gonna have you. I walked away from the desire of him. I stopped flirting. I stopped reciprocating, responding to his advances. Felt like I belonged to him, because he was not prepared to be brave and bold. He was a coward. Upumara, and the two of us going to the sunset. I'm glad he didn't, because all right. Now it's years down the line, long time since I ever spoke with this guy or anything with him. To get born again, and I only got thrown into obscurity 3 to 3.5 years after me getting born again. And now I was in obscurity, I was suffering, and the only time I started a YouTube channel was once I was out on a limb. Before I lost my job, the only place where I was doing gospel ministry was my blog, where I was writing. Me being thrown in this situation caused me to start a YouTube channel. So basically, when he started watching my YouTube channel, I had already lost my job, I was already out on a limb, I was already suffocating. But this dude never stopped reading my blog. He never stopped checking up on what's going on with me. And when then you've got feelings for a woman and you decide you don't want to be with her, and she then also is like, I'm sorry, you're not going to use me, something to string me along. The best thing you can do for yourself, as in daughter, that makes sense, is to let go, like just, let time heal you. You've made a choice. Yeah, all along. Okay, the only way that you're gonna get over Karabo, even though you liked her, you really liked her, is to stop looking at her stuff, stop reading her content, stop putting yourself in a position to be like, yo, but this is my kind of woman. This is what I've always, hey Batum, the thing that drew him to me and me to him. You're still laboring on it, you're still lingering on it. The thing in the first place, Mara, you decided not to be with her. You're still lingering on it. That's the kind of stuff that will make a man out to be slapping you with witchcraft on some even though he marries another woman. It's the kind of thing that will cause a man to linger on you. So I'm all eccentric and charming, very artsy fartsy, but so too is limit yako na make you artsy fartsy naye, right? Anyway, whatever. So I'm a lyrical beast, like it's a big kaza, right? So I speak well, and not only that, I just there man, whatever. Electricity in the lightning bolt just walking around, so like coursing through some bloodstreams like synapses between neurons. Like that's who I be, electric. And if at all you like a woman for being electric, like I'm electric, honey, but you make a decision to be with another lightning bolt for the sake of being faithful and not frazzling the lightning bolt you decided to stay with, do not gaze upon another lightning strike, because then you're going to be a duplicitous baboon that is uncertain for the life of you as to what to do, and you're going to ramp up in your heart feelings for another lightning bolt that you can't possibly be with, and then feel possessive over that lightning bolt. Herein lies a dude out here making like static electricity next to a lightning bolt. You're not gonna live. You're gonna, if you're a static electricity charge next to lightning strike, you're going to be drawn to all the atoms as hectic as a lightning and try to be part of them. You're gonna fall more in love, dog. It's literally that basic. Herein lies this bafunari. He's out here literally following me around. Cat, what do you want to do? Please, ne? I can say what but you don't get to distract me. Make a decision. Lightning bolt, lightning strike, be like khatla khatla khat. So I mean khatla khatla ba, breaking up like things, causing some electric poles to fall on the ground. Yeah, this dude did that kind of lightning storm with me. However, on a very hot day. Alright, God, he was still following me around because he's always liked me. He allowed that to happen. He could have exercised self-control and stopped watching me because I was stumbling to him. If he was confused between two women, if he was a decent guy upon choosing the other one, that would have healed his heart to something good. Because you can't have them all, right? You can't have them all. So if you're confused between two women, the one that you choose, honor her by deliberately and intentionally putting to death random, strange, ogling, stalky activity pertaining to other women. Because then you're going to do a comparison side by side. Anyway, whatever. Herein lies this babunari of static electricity messing with a whole lightning strike. Drawn. He got attached to my creativity, my writing, my poetry in my blog, and he kept on reading these things. And then once everything fell apart for me, he followed my story from a distance, watched MTN ransack Ravazami, behead me, watched me basically as a result of all these sorrows then write my story and then commence a YouTube channel. Now with the YouTube channel, he's seeing my background, the home where I stay, my nuances, the thing that I was. Back then he was just reading my blog and being intrigued by it. Now he is seeing the woman that all along he'd been seeing, right? He met me in person and communicated with me, and now it's like he was in the same room with me. Waba obsessed, addicted with my struggle with MTN as I was reporting it on the daily. I'm now losing everything. I'm now falling apart, and he's following my story like an avid news reader. Do you understand? An avid news watcher, like a person that's following a story in the media. Like he watched me like that. Tata my popcorn, namas my teas, nama astros, ne juice, slash puppy, and just sat there drinking out of the slash puppy while watching Imperium fall apart. Did he feel a sense of heartbreak with what was happening with my life? Listen, this guy was just captivated by the story. I don't know if he was sad for what was happening to me, but one thing that was certainly true is that the feelings he got stronger feelings than what was necessary. He could have just stopped it, nipped it in the bud at his decision. Mara, he didn't. And so one fateful lightning striking day, peals of thunder, rumblings of earthquakes, his girlfriend with whom he is living, right? And I believe at this stage it might have even been a fiance, right? Yeah. But opened the door on him, watching my content online, and something inside this woman made her understand that the woman that he is watching the video of on YouTube is not just any other random person that you can watch on YouTube. She had an inherent gut feeling, like an understanding that he's not just watching anyone. It's not just, like I said, it's not just you click on a video and you're watching it. On YouTube. And when she walked in on him watching this video on his laptop in the bedroom where I guess they slept together, when she busted him, because he acted busted. That's what I mean. Okay, from what the Lord showed me, basically how it was a dream where it is that guys, I'm out to making a point. In the dream, this guy was, it's like he was in an empty room in a house, right? And it was dark, this room that he was in, like all the lights were off, all curtains were closed, and the only light shining in this room was basically that which was coming from his laptop, and it was beaming on his face, and he was sitting in a corner on the floor with his laptop on his lap, right? And then the woman that I know about, all right, the woman that he was with, opened the door, but she did not open it like wah, you know. She like you know when you just almost like trepidatiously with caution, she opened the door, and as she's opening the door, I get it's dark, a sliver of light comes through because the outside is lit, whereas this guy's in the pitch of night inside this room, and the small little sliver of light is in the corner now showing, like, you know, when you open the door of a room that is completely dark, the light coming from outside will show as like a line, a sliver on the wall. This dude, upon observing the sliver of light coming in, like, you know, the way that you would quickly jump to porn, the way that you would quickly jump to close pornography, the way that you would quickly jump to close pornography on your computer when somebody walks in, and evidence in the way that you are reacting that you've been busted, you've been caught. Like, you know, when a person acts in a way so as to make it clear that like on some, hey, yeah, what's up, how? No, I'm good, I'm just doing a couple, I'm just finishing work. Anyway, let's go have lunch. He acted that way. He jumped. In my dream, this door was open. This woman did not swing it open. The sliver of light caused this guy to jump, close his laptop, and essentially, you know, just kind of like act busted. He acted busted. Yeah, and that's the dream that I got. And when I woke up, I was like, what in the world, oh Lord, are you showing me with that dream? And the Lord then started to unravel and unpack it to me to help me understand that he got busted watching your content. And I say busted because the way that he acted upon this woman walking into the room where he was watching your content on a laptop made her realize that she had just walked into him doing something that is unbecoming. Even though I wasn't exactly naked and doing pornographic stuff, he acted like he had been caught watching porn by a woman that he lives with. Yeah, he acted shady, but it was on YouTube that he was watching this content. It's not like he was on an email or a call that upon hanging up real quick because somebody walked into the room, then a person can be like, let me see your phone, let me see your phone. She could not be like, what are you doing? What are you watching? Because I mean, it's YouTube. It's an online audiovisual library. You can like watch whoever you want on there. He was watching a video of mine on YouTube and reacted when his girlfriend walked into the bedroom while watching this like he just busted watching strange lewd content online. And this reaction caused her to be like, okay, my fiance or boyfriend at the time they were yet to be married, she was like, he is hung up on some woman that also has a YouTube channel. Like, she literally reached that conclusion. Lena, she was groveling. This guy, and when you want love and when you feel like this is my man, especially considering I've been waiting for a minute for this guy to propose marriage, and finally I'm his fiance, we're living together, I'm not going to ruin it, and nobody is going to ruin it for me. And so this woman, I would then get a litany of dreams. As in, guys, I would then get a litany of dreams afterwards. After that dream where he done got caught watching me online, I then got a litany of dreams where lomfaz dona megang handle, guys, and mina minga tlhaloganye ukuthi ngenzeni girl, like come on. I can say, guys, yo, I don't know how many men's girlfriends and wives, let me say girlfriends because it was before bachata, these women have put me far away. I'm sorry. I need to blow my nose. Guys, I've gotten buried me. If you have to hide another woman from your man's eyes, honey, that is not your husband. Like, because uzohlala ufihla abafazi. Mikoti. Letlo nenze le pata bo cherry ba sa tsebeng gore dintshangwe tsala. Mikoti. Hey. Niyaziphonza engathi ngama netball balls to each other. Futhi on top of that nge foot fault. Nyazipon emadodeni azoni drop up on the floor like a ball. Hey! Lolemal. If anything, as we speak, we are just scraping. You know that dried up coagulated blood that you just can't let go of. And so we scratcher because you've got a habit. Like I've got a habit of scratching my acne wound here to a point where I fall in fall. Like you can see, Lana. Yeah, you keep on like doing that to yourselves. I'm just saying, like the hot when you throw yourself to Indota that you have to go your land. Some unsuspecting woman in the office that he's out your ogling and salivating. How you put yourselves in a marriage with Indota that's going to ugumesa when you are thrown to him like a ball and drop it on the floor. And however, if he does catch you, shapa foot fall to so disqualified anyway. Nizi lahlele ku amadoda we Bobby rubbish. And minage haletlong ravaza taba yeo lankutla. Anyway. Osikio, Yamalora pupi. Kill him more, hey. Kibonang, busihu, a REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Here, left, right, left, air battle. Kakilora Osikirima, Osana Hansebi. Litany is not like one of those like my ex-girlfriend, my ex-boyfriend. So Ona cheated on me, right? He used to hurt me with some chick that liked him before I came into the picture. Mara, she was a slay queen. As I'm about because Ona broke at the poor, I do to go call center. And so she kept on hassling my boyfriend. I've told you that story. Cherele had met me before. She had seen me live. 99. Jill Scott, let her enemy in that music video, sister girl. I know you don't understand, but you're gonna have to understand. He's my man now. Me and Guy Cherry chicken. So Therefore, haebane o tlo ntshwara poho o ngvembe o nkgame nkare you're a Boeing constrictor. Ha se o tlo tlola le boyfriend nna ke dampileng. Ke a tlhaloganya cause wa ntseba and o tshogile because ke nkile outie e wena no sa e batle ka itlhotlho. Nkare ke dust. Nkare ke braso. Ka mo shinisa. I qeta o shina o bo lo monyala. All right, sharp, ne? She knew me, so how much my ex's now wife I get it because nekile teng in my life. Like I said, ke mo shinisa nkare ke braso. And then this chick years down the line, even though she rejected him back when he had nothing, I do to go call center. Now one's her because I was ride or die when he had nothing, and she will never add up to that. She will always be the woman that embraced him only because he started making money, and that will always lose you some points before a man. So okay, that fly on the wall. I am an elephant in the room of their marriage. I'm the ex that she is aware. If I had not rejected him, he would have married me. Why this guy is still hung up. So she's done that. She's done spells to make my ex-boyfriend, no longer intrigued by me. But they've all just hurt her in return because I keep getting dreams where it is that she's in the front seat as a passenger, right, with my ex-boyfriend driving, and I am just almost like an aberration, a ghost in the backseat. There's always just a sense of me hovering in their marriage, and she is well aware of that because of him being hung up on me still. That's what you do to yourselves, Bafazindeni, when you try to make a woman disappear from when it's not this man's decision, when this man is not the one that has loved you so much that he now has ignored her. When you are making him ignore her, she will always be a ghost, an aberration, a poltergeist, a haunting in your marriage, in your relationship. Nina intanda imiti, thinking that you can hold men hostage. Women that they're more interested in than you. Boomerang, baby. Anyway, I'm busy telling the story. This outie, girlfriend that they made, at the time nearly girlfriend, not yet wife. He ended up marrying her because she made sure of it. As in, nichatani. And your kids are one day gonna hate you. But anyway, I'm telling a story. Like I said, my ex-boyfriend, I can understand his present wife doing a ritual like that against me. Not that it's okay to do a ritual, but hey man, the motivation, she's not entirely mentally insane to do that ritual. Except she is, to a large extent, mentally insane just by mere virtue of doing a satanic ritual. Mara, you can see motivation at Mara Moto, a woman that you've never met and you would never have known about her. If at all you did not bust your man watching her, never mind responding to her text messages or emails or taking calls from her, but watching her video on YouTube. Like when a woman is removed by those many degrees of separation from your husband or your boyfriend, and then you decide to tagata this woman in order to keep your husband in a bunch pertaining her. Honey, listen, there are like 8 billion people on earth. Half of those are women. How much money you got? How much time do you got to make sure that any woman that your man gazes upon suddenly just eludes him? When I'll tell day I'll spend, you have all that time and you have all that surveillance paraphernalia on you. Do you have your own unique handmade mark of the beast that you can implant as a chip on the right hand of your man or on the forehead of your man so that you can track him, monitor him, and then also, just like the mark of the beast, I believe is going to be able to do this, control his thoughts so as to essentially betray whomever that you decide he must betray, or hold fast to whomever you decide he must hold fast to you as his particular antichrist. Because the mark of the beast is going to cause people to betray family members and hand them over to be killed, and then plead allegiance to the Antichrist. So do you have technology like you are Elon Musk's Neuralink to actually be planting some kind of a strange computer virus inside a person's body and make yourself an internet of bodies, and so therefore make your husband an internet of bodies and make your husband therefore the puppet on a string that's going to adore you like fascinatingly and longingly and lovingly for the rest of your days, with him looking at no other woman, cause proper, that's what the Antichrist is gonna achieve. Do you have that kind of technology? If you don't, honey, on that day you're a counterfeit Antichrist and you're gonna go to hell, unnecessarily having not even been the real Antichrist, for trying to achieve an Antichrist strategy against somebody that, since you're not the real Antichrist, you're not gonna truly succeed to change his thoughts, and you're not therefore also gonna truly succeed to make him have unfettered affections for you, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter how tyrannical you are. You are not that thing, And so because you're not that thing, you're setting yourself up for the failure of a man finally deciding to go and get what he wants anyway, because men can be selfish that way when they're not regenerated by the Holy Spirit. He will decide to go and get what he wants anyway, because men at some point, if they don't really love you, they will see no qualms with leaving a woman with 7 children. They will see no qualms with basically leaving you high and dry, embarrassed, humiliated, afflicted, scorned. Yeah, it's about pleasure. When men are not in Christ, they are lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. Having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. They're hedonistic. Do you understand? They just want to satiate their taste buds. They are very primitive that way, primal, like primates. Eat, drink, sleep, sex. And if at all something is more motivating to his taste buds than you, with him having no self-control, no Holy Spirit, no regenerating power by the God of heaven, honey, he's just gonna go. And so you put yourself in a position, Jefela, to lose that. You basically delayed the inevitable. You lose a man that you would have lost a lot earlier prior to you marrying him, Gankani. And so therefore you go and marry someone that does actually belong to you, that does actually love you. Yeah, you put yourself in a position to get hurt later rather than sooner. And now when you get hurt later rather than sooner, you're now also getting hurt with what they call to be a finished off disposition. Hey, scraps disposition. You've already born 4 kids. You've got all those stretch marks on your stomach. You're 45 years old. You're this, you're that, you're the other. You are largely unsalvageable in a way that men are not quite unsalvageable at that age with all those kids. Men can continue to marry 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th wives when they have been spent in their bodies, and so far as they've got money to spend. So the older a man gets, the more financially secure he tends to be, and so therefore the more able to you will be replaced for a 22-year-old, a 23-year-old, when you try to block your husband from marrying a woman that was his peer, or more or less give or take 2-3 years younger than him. That guy was older than me by 4 years. And he was older than his the woman he married by 6, so she was younger than me by 2 years. Yeah, Gaufela, we were, long story short, kind of low-key peers, right? But the older these men get, the younger the women get. So therefore, it starts being kids that could be our baby, it starts being kids that when we were in high school, they was just starting primary, or they are young enough to be our own children, or they are so young that, frankly, it's just an abomination and an embarrassment that Indoteyako has left you for the Itini Bopa type establishment thing. And so it hurts a lot more, right? When your boyfriend is actually cheating on you with somebody that's your age or only younger than you by 2-3 years, the only thing that's slapping you right now is, what, does he think she's prettier? What, does he think she's prettier? Does he think that she's, what is it about her? What is it about her that I don't have? That's the lament of a 25-year-old woman crying about her boyfriend cheating on her with a 24-year-old woman, or another 25-year-old, or a 27-year-old. What is it about her? When you all look the same. But when a man is cheating on you with a 20-year-old and you are 40, yes, like it. But on that day, I'm scraps now. I'm moldy bread on the counter. Is that what's good? To a point where you're gonna go and get somebody that's young enough to be my daughter and bring her into Indlu and sleep with her on my bed, kiss her on a business trip. And the level of insecurity that then dwells inside women as a result of being cheated on with much younger women slays. It literally slays that which could be the level of insecurity that it can ever come in a younger woman dealing with a man cheating with yet another younger woman. Yet another young woman. Do you understand what I'm saying? You bounce back a lot easier when you're younger than when you're older. And so this chick put herself in a position to essentially deal with her husband ultimately tarrying on her, now that he's a husband and no longer just a boyfriend, tarrying on her, like departing from that random gangster situation. For a woman that is now, Gaufela, we are like headed for our 40s, are in our 40s. Like I'm 40 on the dot, so this chick now today is 38. Do you understand? Yeah, she's soon going to be 40. And our man, she's dealing with Indota and Jeffela that's going to be lambasting her with a 26-year-old. Honey, he was going to do that, inevitably. Because you literally made sure that he's not with the woman he wants the most. So he will be at some point uncomfortable with you, disquieted with you, enough for him to finally leave. But by the time he leaves you with a stronger insecurity, deeper regret, and a wish that you had just let him go so you could go and marry someone well into your old age that organically wanted you and you wanted him. Just the original thing. Whatever this cheeky Laura Lori, like Lori. Laura with all the dusty coal therein. I'd only ever seen her like, when you have a crush on a dude, we are just cyber stalking him on Facebook and all that jazz. Yeah, I cyber stalked him, and so I got to see all the photos of him and his girlfriend. All right, yeah. So I knew her face because Negimo stalker, stalker boyfriend I think, because Negimo rat. Eh, banna mo life thing. Sheriena e ke se ke le fela ka e bona dinepeng tsa go Facebook. Ke ka bona fela dinepeng tsa Facebook wa ke so ka kopana le yena. Ha ka mo etsa next ka mo tshela chefu. I didn't do anything to this lady. Just covered the fact that she got the man I want. At some point, I was obsessed with her profile. Because I wanted her man. But I grew up, I overcame those nasty hurdles of worldliness. And I was Christ-like now. So I was like, good for you. Go have your chat down. I'm sorry for trying to be an interruption in that. I even sent him an email apologizing to him for trying to take him away. I did. I thoroughly did on some, she's a good woman. I didn't know her, but I figured that she must be a great girl for, him to, having been apprehensive about me, nonetheless not going ahead with what I'm doing because there must be something that he's holding on Kayen, all right? There's something about her that you loved enough for you to realize that you don't want to hurt her. Yeah, and so I'm sorry for being the thorn in your flesh. I'm gonna extract myself now. Once I got born again, I thoroughly sent him an email and I was like, I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry for stumbling you pertaining your girlfriend. I did. When you come to Christ, you do right things. Anyway, I did that right thing. And maybe that's also another reason why he kept following me around. How dare you be mature about me choosing my girl? Yes, I'm a thought. Anyway. So this chick that I ended up respecting by saying I'm sorry for hurting her and you for confusing you. I then see her in my dreams and I'm like, all that I've ever seen her, I've never had a conversation with her. I've only ever scrolled and coveted. Back in the day when I was not stalking her man, but like spazzing over her man, I got obsessed with her Facebook. It was one of those yawning ones that don't have any security on it, so no gonna bona dinepe fela ntse o scrolla ke hantse ke sheba dinepe tsa cherry ke di sheba to a point where if I saw her in public nka mo recognize ke tseba hore yo monna ha ne ke mo batla mara ke maswabi askis get, especially now that I see you in pub in person ke a bona hore ke bodile bathong. Hey bana, I could recognize that chick in public any day cause dala busy ngama ingithombe zakhe on Facebook. Kitty compare. Who's Prince here? Who's this? Who's there? Oh, Karabo hobola. Tabang hobola. Balecha. So of course, if I can recognize this woman in public, because I at some point was cyber stalking, of course, I will recognize her in my dream. Hey, oh see, I parle motoronyaka nkare o auditionile for bioscope ka mo hare da. Guys, ke ha ke mo lora night after next after like I said ke so in REM sleep. Ke le mona no. We see. Ha le ka tseba. Ntse ke di boneng he batho. Danger Kafarangosi, I say the first dream I get, Chiriena. Now, when I see public transportation taxi, it always represents a sense of control. Where it is that somebody is driving a minibus taxi, right? And what do you call this? The people that he is carrying at the back are controlled. They are being taken where the taxi driver will have them go. And also the taxi industry in my country can be violent, and it's not a preferred it is not a preferred mode of transportation by people. However, it is an acceptable or a necessary sort of kind of transitory phase before you finally get your own car. If people would choose for themselves in this country what mode of transportation to use, they would first and foremost run towards buses, either Rea Vaya, Padco, or the Gandhi Square buses, or any other, or Ubers and whatnot, rather than these mini bus taxis. Because of the violence and how rude taxi drivers can be and how the taxi are unpleasant and people who use them, long story short, it's a necessary evil. Like you just go through the modes until you can get a job one day and have your own car. All right, everybody who is in the taxi space strives to ultimately get their own cars because y'all know taxi life. Short left, short right, after what? I'm a taxi Kenya. And those who are stranded with them for the rest of their days feel unfortunate. But they are our transportation as a country. They are from A to B, go to school and back, go to work and back. until we can get out of that space. So when I dream about a taxi driver driving a bunch of passengers, I'm aware that it speaks of control and you not being where you would much rather be, but you having no other choice but to take this in your stride. That's why God uses taxis, because of how metaphorically or allegorically they apply to my life in particular. Not yours, because you don't necessarily view taxis that way, but I do. So this is unique to me, so don't imagine me as some kind of a dream interpretation Bible that you can go back to refer to. And then what do you call this, like an addendum or an annexure, and say to yourself that God will say that when she dreams about taxis, it means control and witchcraft, so it must mean the same thing for me. No, taxis might be very different to you. These are unique experiences. Let me just put that out there. Cool. Now that you have heard all that, I dream about this cherry, right? At the stage of, this is now at the beginning of my sorrow. I have just started losing everything, and at the beginning of my sorrow, I was still going to Wits every day for Wi-Fi. It was the latter end of that academic year. My student card still could access the campus all the way into the next year, the first couple of months of the next year. So even though I was no longer registered as a student at Wits because of stuff that hit my life, I was still going there for Wi-Fi, because I was still living go for ways. It's not internet good thing, right? So I would go to Wits just for having access to the internet, and that's where I was uploading my content from. I was uploading my content. I would do it in my apartment in 4 ways, drive to Wits, and then upload it using the internet in the computer labs at school. Very well. I get a dream. In this season, I'm suffering, I'm suffocating, I'm trying to breathe, but it's hard, right? MTN is, like I said, throwing me away. Everybody's spitting on my shoes. This guy's still watching my content. The wife busts him. It was a girlfriend at the time. We are bank, and then realizes this is more than just my man looking at YouTube because of how he reacted. And then next thing I get dreams, y'all. Yes. This chick that I know nothing about other than her pics on Facebook, whose boyfriend I briefly stumbled, but it had been at this stage years since I walked away from all that stumbling, because I got born again. So I'm no threat. I shouldn't be able to. I dream about her. Literally, she wasn't rough or violent. There's one that was violent in my dream, belonging to some other dude, right? I was inside the campus. She just cordially walked up to me. Just cordially. And marched me out of campus. Marched me out of campus. I think it's Yale Road. And then Wangisa to a taxi rank that was manufactured in my dream, because there's no such taxi rank outside of Wits, but it looked like it was a that taxi rank on a bus stop. Outside that particular entrance of Wits, there's a bus stop. Yeah, the bus stop Gandhi Square, right? Instead of there being a bus stop, yeah, the bus still. It was a taxi rank, so that's why it's not one that actually exists in the country, right? She took me to that taxi rank that was not far from the exit point of my campus university. Walk to a taxi rank that was by where the bus stop in Waking Life is at. Wavula umnyango we taxi, one particular taxi squashed me inside the way that a kid would squash their teddy bear in a dropper in the morning, so as to give the illusion of having cleaned up their room to their mom. One squasher in a taxi without even checking to see if I've got a seat in there or what. One squasher in there. Close the door and watch the taxi drive off with me. She literally guys, Wanglanda from campus walked me to the bus stop that was now a taxi rank, squeezed me into a packed taxi, sardines full of people, and watched it drive off. And then she was like, okay, this is good. I've done this. Basically, she was just doing a spell, according to her, where he's my man, and I don't know who you are. I don't know what relevance you are to him. I don't know where he met you, but he is certainly kind of obsessed with you to a point of watching your YouTube content. And I know that you're not just a YouTube content creator to him. Oh, I'm Monseba, and it's running white kaza because you all eccentric and you've got a YouTube channel. So hard. I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna go to a sangoma and I'm going to tell that sangoma I is somewhere other than where it is that my man can see her. Now, Wits was the place where I was uploading content. Do you understand what I'm saying? An environment where I would go, upon uploading myself online, her man would then click on every video that I would post and watch it. And she took me out from that campus and put me in a taxi and said, go anywhere but anywhere where you can stand in front of my man and flash your body there. Flash your whole demeanor. This chick was basically saying, my man will never watch any of your videos ever again. You woman, my man wants you. I'm not gonna be mean. I'm just saying, get out from in front of my man's eyes. And the only way that I could ever get out from away from her man's eyes was if I had nowhere to basically flaunt myself in front of him. YouTube. That chick came at my visibility online. In general, she did that. Lo and behold, a couple of months from that date, so it would be a couple of months, because of the harassment of my person by my family, to get off YouTube too. like pressure. I didn't have my own apartment, my own life. I had to go back home. And in the season when I was at home, my mom even took one of my cameras and broke them on some stop recording. Family YouTube, and yet another one of these random guys. One of these random guys to a point of death now. He wanted to kill me. One that I used to think was my future husband. That guy was so abusive that I finally made a decision that, listen, the combination of my family persecuting me for being on YouTube and also in my blog, right next to that's trying to kill me because he went and married another woman. I decided whatever, I'm getting out until I'm safe. I told myself that until I'm safe, I've got a job and I can take care of myself. I can't go back to ministry. So I basically went underground for a good, like, I think, guys, it was like 3 years, thinking that when I get a job, when I get restored, when I get recovered, that's when I'll go back to ministry. In that 3-year season of which, when I was underground, I was recording content, I was working every day, so as to get stuff off my chest, I had intentions and plans to share the videos that I was recording, basically in retrospect or in prospect, once I got back on YouTube again. But I was waiting for a time to get my life back, but it never came back. My life never got recovered. I never got a job. I never got independence. And so the next time when I returned to YouTube, it was a return in the lines of, I've prayed all these years and I've stood my ground and I've made myself indispensable to my family. I have also been called by God, and I went underground, scared, fleeing from wicked men and wicked women, and it didn't give. I work for no one but Christ. He will be the one to protect me, to make sure that I don't just get murdered by some psychopath on the internet using satanic spells, to make sure that I also don't get scooted out by some bobbies that say that quit or else. I belong to Jesus, and greater is he who is in me than he who is in this world. I wasn't idle all those years. I was working, but I was not posted for the very same reason that a whole chunk of my brethren on the left and on the right are not sharing the work of the Lord, because they've been persecuted on the left and on the right, and they went underground. And I've already had my season of going underground. I'm not going back again. I've been there and I ain't going back to cowering anymore, right? Anyway, so this chick, her witchcraft and that of many other people essentially took root, it appeared, where I was bullied off the internet and so therefore extracted from amehlo where this man would ultimately become the husband. He proposed, fiance, and then ultimately by church she got her man. Do you understand? That weird little underhanded random rubbish. Yeah, Mara, she did also take me out of Wits. Wits also staged a coup against it, guys. So much has happened to me. But they what did Wits do? They what's the word? They excluded me from registering again the next year, even though it didn't make sense. Bare, I was academically excluded. Albeit when you would get academically excluded at Wits University if you fail subjects, so many of them that I used to go, we need to go and take other students type setup thing. Or you can be academically excluded if you don't write a certain number of exams, whatever. Yeah, but they can't academically exclude you if out of, like, let's say 7 subjects, 7 modules, you have failed 4 and passed 3, or you have not written 4 and passed 3. It's not grounds for academic exclusion. Academic exclusion is when abysmal and different across the board. You be out here lambasting or patronizing Wits by passing 1 subject out of like 8 modules in a year. It's like, come on, you don't want to be Moskolong. And then they exclude you. But if you are like basically half and half, or even 50 or even 55-45 in your balance of where you're doing well and not, they can't academically exclude you. Especially also when the subjects that you have done well in, you've passed, you've done well, like as an 80-90%, they can't just academically exclude you. Well, the first half of that year, I did so well that I basically almost low-key straight A's with 1 B, exceptional B here and there in my first semester, because what happened to me at MTN happened around June, and it would be in the second semester that I would drop the ball everywhere because I was just being abused. I was thrown out. I was no longer employed. I could not focus on anything. Life happened. And so literally on my academic transcript of my final year, right, at Wits, there was like 95, 85, 82, like just passes with 1 odd B in all the stuff that I did in my first semester. I had never passed that well. When I came to Christ, I did even better than I did before, because now I was working heartily as unto the Lord. I had been at Wits at that stage very many years, and I'd never been excluded where I had lesser results than that before. I did that well. Second semester, I didn't fail anything. I just didn't pitch. I registered subjects, but life slapped me. So I did not come to classes. So I didn't meet due performance, and then I also didn't write exams. So basically, there's a code, Wits. There's a code, Wits, for that. When you don't pitch for an exam, you get a FABS. They don't just say fail on your academic transcript, they say FABS. And FABS means fail because of absent from examination. Fail because of being absent from examination. I had something like 4 FABs. I failed because I was absent from the exams. I failed because I did not meet due performance. I didn't meet due performance because I did not pitch for classes. Because I was being harassed, I was being fired from work. I did not have resources in me to focus on all these things in my life that are going on. However, I had done so well in the first semester, having passed with like ridiculous marks, that when Vince decided to academically exclude me because of all those FABs where I didn't pitch for my exam, I knew that there was more to it than Mr. I. I knew that I was being persecuted. A lot of stuff happened involving also my mom, even using a lecturer at Vis that really loved me. This one guy, comp math, because I used to do well in his class, I cried to him. I was like, how they exclude me for this? I had life issues. That's why I can't do FABs. Whatnot. I appealed, and upon appealing, they said no. They said no. After I appealed, that's when I went to the lecturer. And it was only once I went to this other lecturer that Vis then came back and wrote me an email on some, listen here, right? You are only left with 1 module to graduate. So, we'll allow you to go and do that module at UNISA and then come back to Wits University and we will credit you for it and we'll give you a degree. I still thought that I was like, no, I want to finish my degree Momo Wits, and they finally conceded, but I could not return back to school the next year because, life was still happening to me. I had to fight like a dog. But Wits basically was trying to tell me, I had intentions to return back to Wits and be like, listen, go constitutional court because degree and but I have not had the resources. I had plans to go back everywhere where everyone had persecuted me. Mara, where Wits academically excluding me, albeit getting straight A's in the first semester and not even failing because I did badly in exams, but being absent from the exam, absenteeism of which I explained it in a lengthy essay as to why I wasn't there to write all those exams. And they still, that weird decision, that's that girl. Like, she did a spell to get me to not be able to come back to Wits again. That was the only source of internet I had. That was the first thing that happened. And then my family persecuted me. Some other dude tried to kill me with witchcraft. And then I was like, yes, and veiling Yahamba from YouTube. Combination of things. But these things, do you understand? Witchcraft works by suggestion, trickle effects, recommendations. And again, people acting irrationally, out of character, out of whack, pertaining the witch's demands. You will find people making decisions that don't make no sense at all because some witch is in their mind. Go Wits, I got excluded until I appealed Gabekaba Blue Bangfa back my status over there. And my family, of course, harassed me finally. And so her husband, who would then become her boyfriend, who would then become her husband, Lady Chica, finally she succeeded to make me walk away from Bela. She did. It would take, how long did it take? Perhaps like a year, maybe a year and a half for me to finally go underground. Because in the beginning I tried to fight, but it's like I was just kicking like into thin air, right? Finally I disappeared. And these people got married. This chick and her man, they got married maybe 2 years after me losing everything. So I lost everything in 2014. Maybe they got married 2016. So after I officially disappeared from the internet, about 6 months later, they finally tied the knot. Yes, and guys, Mafazi, I need the bathroom. We're gonna come back and continue to talk about this. Like, finally, he married a woman because the one that he was staring at, finally she set like the sun. What?